Hello and welcome to this AppEvents tutorial for Incisor. In this tutorial, we will cover what an app event is and the main functionality of AppEvents, creative application of some built-in app events, how to make a custom app event, and a brief look at Incisor's library of built-in app events. An app event is a type of object that can execute a callback function when triggered by a given type of event. There are two main use cases of app events in Incisor: app events for automatically recurring events such as updaters, and app events that are triggered by specific events such as user input. In this tutorial, we'll start with the key down app event that responds to user input from the keyboard, and then play with the fixed update app event that recurs a specific number of times per second. To get started, let's open a blank Incisor project. We can leave the sample text in for now, setting the string to empty. Let's use the key down app event provided by Incisor to be notified whenever a key on the keyboard is pressed. Set a variable equal to nc.appevents.keydown. Then we'll use the add callback function to specify what we want to execute when this app event is triggered. Simply pass the callback owner object and the name of the callback as a string. Now let's write our callback function. The key down app event automatically passes the browser level key event to the callback function as its first parameter. We can make this a variable of our choice. Now I'll set the string of the sample text to whatever key is being pressed down at the time and save our code. We should see the text changing accordingly in real time. Let's have our function look at a specific key now. I'll make it so that if W is pressed, the text position moves up. You can see that holding down the W key causes the text to move, but the movement is choppy. This is because the callback is only being triggered whenever the app event receives a message that the key is down. This frequency is determined by your device's settings, which can vary. To achieve a smooth movement, we'll need to use an app event that is triggered much more frequently and consistently. Let's use the fixed update app event, which is triggered a default of 60 times per second. We'll create another app event using fixed update and add a callback to it. We'll have our callback function look at the key down states object that is built into Incisor. This has a parameter that is set to true whenever the given key is in a down state. Fixed update will be listening to this parameter. I'll put the same position change as before into this function instead. Now we can see that holding down the W key results in a much smoother movement across the canvas. Let's take this one step further and have our callback respond to the A, S, and D keys as well. Let's also replace our text assembly with a graphic object. For more information on graphic objects, check out our graphic objects tutorial. By setting our position changes accordingly, we now have a character that can move in 4 directions across the canvas. Now let's learn how to create a custom app event. Use the function nc.defineAppEvent and provide the name as a string, then save the code. Now we can find our event by typing nc.appevents. Let's select our event and add a callback to it. The trigger function will execute any callbacks that have been added to our app event. We can also pass parameters to these callbacks through trigger. I'll write a callback function that reduces the alpha level of the graphic. Let's go back to our fixed update event and set our custom app event to be triggered after the graphic reaches a certain position, passing a value to our callback. We should see the graphic fade out once it meets our conditions. Now, click the Incisor icon in the top left corner and choose Incisor Documentation. If we click on App Events, we can see a list of built-in events and their functionality. You'll find app events that respond to canvas size changing, cursor input, object focus, and more. We won't be going over all of these app events in this overview, but feel free to ask any questions you might have via our subreddit or Stack Overflow. Have fun creating with Incisor.